What up guys, Alex here. I got the Xena lift here to do a quick video to address a problem I'm having with the 89. Nothing dramatic, nothing serious, but just something that's been kind of eating away at me. Let me walk back here and show you what's going on. So we've already highlighted before my differential setup, which is a 370Z Euro differential with the finned housing, and this is the Z1 finned diff cover with the extended sump, you know, the whole cooling capacity, external pump, etc., etc. So one of the problems I'm having on this setup in particular is the drive shaft. I think it's not balanced because in fourth gear I'm getting vibration in the car, resonating vibration, and what that generally means and why I think it's a bad drive shaft or a bad balanced drive shaft is simply because your fourth gear, and especially in this particular transmission, is the 1-to-1 ratio, which means for every rotation of the drive shaft coming out of the transmission is exactly, you know, it's the one input, one output, basically, if you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to explain, but whereas, you know, first, second, third, fourth gears, or first, second, and third gears are a different ratio, and fifth and sixth are your overdrive. So your fourth gear is your 1-to-1. So anyways, when your drive shaft is not balanced, you're gonna feel the vibration and the unbalanced aspect of the drive shaft more so than any other gear in the vehicle. And this is specifically this particular transmission. It is specifically your 1-to-1 ratio gear, whatever your transmission is. And it can even be your automatic transmission, whatever the ratio or whatever the gear is, your 1-to-1. So again, in this case, on the Tremec Magnum, it's your fourth. Coincidentally, it's the same on a Z32 and Z31 transmission being the fourth gear. On the 350Z transmission or 370Z transmission, it's going to be your fifth gear. That's the 1-to-1 on that transmission. But anyways, why we're going to send this drive shaft off? You know, I guess we're going to send it off to get rebalanced, of course. But the other thing I'm going to do is get the companion flange, which is this side of the drive shaft, upgraded. So, and all the drive shafts I've had made for all, you know, my car in the past and other customers of mine, we utilize a 1310 Spicer U-joint. 1310 is like the run-of-the-mill, very stout U-joint. It's very strong, but it's not the be-all, you know, U-joint. There's a lot more bigger, beefier U-joints after that. A very popular, common U-joint that people go to are the 1350 U-joint, and that one supports like some 2,000 plus horsepower or wheeler torque. So the U-joint that's up here is a 1350, and this one is as well, but I'll get back to that one here in a minute to explain how that one is a 1350. But this is a SONNAX, or SONNAX, however you pronounce it, forged slip yoke. These are very popular in the T56 world or Tremec world, so that one was a no big deal, no brainer to get a 1350 U-joint in there. But on the 350Z, 370Z differential, there is no companion flange available that utilizes a 1350 U-joint. Now, how do I have a 1350 U-joint back here? This companion flange is a companion flange off of a different application. I don't even know what it is. A drive shaft place local in Colorado where I used to live made it for me. Basically, they made the boss ring, which is your like hub centric adapter that centers the companion flange onto the differential. They made a boss ring out of aluminum, you know, on a lathe, and then it allows it to be perfectly centered. But if you can see, let me get the flashlight here, you can see where there is like another pattern, another, you know, bolt pattern. You can kind of see it like right there, and it works. Obviously it's bolted up, but you can tell it's not fitted and not exactly specifically made for that differential. So I believe that whether the drive shaft itself is not balanced correctly or this hokey companion flange is the problem. So what we're going to do to fix this, to remedy this, I did find a solution, and I'm really, you know, proud of myself for finding this. And I don't think it's well common knowledge, and I may have been the first person to kind of stumble upon this 1350 solution. It was quite a discovery, and actually I did apply it already to the wide body when I had got this 370Z Euro spec finned housing put in the car. So basically we're going to do the same thing for this car. So let me show you what I got going on. So that drive shaft companion flange is the 350-370Z flange, which is a 4-bolt flange. It actually started off, Nissan started using that flange back in the Q45. It's the same pattern flange, very common with Nissan. But like I said, they've only gone up to a 1310 Spicer U-joint. So this right here is a brand new in a box companion flange. And what this is from, essentially, it's from an Infiniti QX70, but also the new Z-Car 23 and newer, they use it now as well. So this is the 6-bolt companion flange, and you can tell this thing is incredibly beefy, and it uses a 6-bolt pattern. I measured the dimensions and the pattern of this setup, of this flange, and it is the same pattern that's in the Z32. You know, as far as this pattern, it's not the same. This is not a Z32 flange, but the bolt pattern is the same. But also, it is the same pattern as a Hellcat, which is crazy. And then SONNAX, that same brand I have for the slip yoke, uses they have an aftermarket 1350 series U-joint that is specifically for this pattern for a Hellcat, and it has the same inner diameter. Like, it is 100% drop-in bolt, like it just works. So that's what I have already in the wide body, and it's built aluminum, and it uses a 1350 U-joint rated for like 2200 wheel load torque. It's just crazy. And so what these are, you might already know, but these are washers, as they call them, where when you get your drive shaft bolted up, it actually goes like this, as you can see. But if you can see, it has the same pattern there. These are basically washers. And the reason why you want to use these on the drive shaft, because since the companion flange is aluminum, you want to have an equal spread of clamping load. So there's 3 of them total to accommodate the 6 bolts there. So this is what we're going to put on today. And then we can take the measurement from face of flange to the rear seal of the transmission, and we'll get that measurement, and we'll be able to get that drive shaft sent off, get it redone, and get it you know, adjusted to accommodate that new flange. So, you know, going to the new 370Z, 350-370Z companion flange or differential makes dropping the drive shaft super easy. Whereas on the Z31, the stock setup, you have to like remove a lot of stuff to get everything to come out clear, easily. So, but what we're going to do essentially, if we can, let's see if we can get this done, is just unbolt it really quickly. Makes life pretty easy. So right now I have the car in neutral. Usually what I do, like on a stock Z31 subframe, because it's really hard to get to the rear bolts, I use a pry bar and I stick it in between the U-joints, and I'm able to use that as my, you know, stopped leverage point. But because on this setup it makes it super easy, I can keep it in neutral and just extract it normally. Super easy. Almost got it out. When you put these bolts on, the drive shaft bolts, you're supposed to use Loctite, which I have put on here, and it just makes it a little difficult to come out because you don't want these to come out by themselves, obviously. So it's kind of good that I'm feeling a decent amount of resistance. I'm just getting this nut undone. Come on. And then I do want to show an issue with the sway bar, which might result in buying a new sway bar. I'll show you why in a minute. But let's get this bolt done. So I got this guy out, and you can definitely, you know, see that there was a bit of Loctite on there, thread sealant. Come on. There we go. Let's go faster now like this. So lately the Z's been driving so well. Whenever the weather's good and I have to drive to the office for any reason, I tend to take the Z out. But it is, drop the bolts, it is getting kind of annoying where, you know, driving it and in fourth gear, I feel this vibration that makes it kind of, you know, a bit of annoyance. It can't be good for that drivetrain to suffer, to feel that much vibration. So, oops, come on, fight me a little bit. All right. All right, there we go. Keep hitting that exhaust pipe. All right, one more to go. I'm gonna leave one in there so it can hold itself while I loosen it. And this will be the last one. Here we go. Yeah, just definitely using Loctite on these, you know. Oops. You gotta make sure. Come on. There we go. Should be it. All right. And I can tell you just by removing this that, like, it just doesn't feel like things are positioned correctly. Like, it feels like there's a little bit of like wedging, or I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it should. So if you look right there, you can see that boss ring, and you can see how it was machined to fit on the back of the companion flange, but I just don't think that should be correct. So we're just going to set this over here on the bench. Let me get this chop saw cleared. Just making some exhaust pieces the other day. All right. So like I said, this is a SONNAX forged slip yoke. This is also a forged slip yoke or a companion flange, but it's just not, I don't like it. It's hokey at best. We're gonna get that swapped out to a SONNAX forged companion flange with a 6-bolt pattern. So, I think I have let's put this over here for a quick minute. A transmission plug for the rear. Here it is. This just prevents any dust or dirt from, if you can see that, from getting up in there. Yeah, there we go. But actually, before we put that in there, what's this right there? I need to take a measurement, the tape measure. But what we do need to talk about real quick, let me get that flashlight again, is I'm going to show you guys the problem I had with this whole setup. So if you look right there, look how close the rear sway bar is to that flange right there, the companion flange. And what I had to do is I had to grind a healthy amount of material out of that sway bar. And you can kind of see that right there, right? And this type of metal is called, I forget what kind of, I think it's like 5160, I want to say spring steel. It's a really stiff spring steel or steel that has rigidity, but yet flexibility where, you know, it can move like a leaf spring and come back in shape. But the problem I have with this is a 31, I believe, millimeter rear sway bar from a, you know, 240SX. The problem I have with this setup is this is a brand new sway bar, and yet I had to modify it to get to clear that. But the cool thing is once I go to the new companion flange, I don't think this will be a fitment because the companion flange is much taller, and it'll put the face of the flange about, I don't know, maybe an inch and a half to an inch, about an inch and a half away from where it's at now. And I think I'll be able to get a new rear sway bar and just, you know, not have to worry about that clearance issue. So that's the goal. So probably have to order a new one. But let's go ahead and get this knocked out. That's a 30 millimeter nut there. And then I'll have to get my, you know, 3-arm, you know, pulley puller and get that pulled off. Shouldn't take much effort though, but let's go ahead and get that pulled off. So for the tool for that guy, where is it? There it is. And then we'll use the big impact. I need to get more in the habit of using my air pneumatic, you know, impact. But because I'm just doing this, I mean, this is fine. I like using air. I don't know why. But let's see here. So like I said, it's 30 millimeter. And this, I believe, is 18. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's 18. Yeah, 18. All right, so let's leave that there for a quick second, and let's get this nut off. So usually when you put a differential together, you have to measure the torque when you put that on because you're crushing the crush sleeve. Because the crush sleeve is already at a predetermined height right now, all I literally need to do is when I pull this off, I just need to put the other one and zip it on. When you zip it on with an impact, especially like an electric impact, you're not going to put enough oomph into it to further compress the crush sleeve. You're not. And trust me, you're not. I've done it a few times, and out of curiosity, I went and measured the preload on the bearing, and it was exactly where it is. So as long as you're not going to town on it and you're just zipping it on, it's perfectly fine. But what we're going to do for curiosity is we're going to go ahead and measure it, and I'll see where it's at, and then we'll put it right back where it needs to be. So the challenge is measuring it with the wheels and axles and all that stuff. It's going to be a different specification than it would be from factory. You know, I mean, not from factory, but with it, you know, with it on the bench or something like that. In this case, we're just going to measure it for it being attached and just to take a base measurement. So what you do, you get your old school measuring, you know, torque measuring torque bar here. I forget what it's called. Actually, let me get the other one, because this one I think is kind of stretched. It's not zeroed out, and I don't want to spend time recalibrating. I'll use a small one right here. And we do comically size up from quarter all the way up to half drive just to make it work. So let's see. So we go from quarter to 3/8, 3/8 to half. And we'll be able to get the pre-measurement before we yank this guy off. All right. So, as we said, let's see if you guys can see, adjust the camera. So right now it's zeroed off. So the needle jump there because you have to apply a little bit of, you know, torque to get it going, and I don't have much swing here with the exhaust. So let's try that again. So, it is kind of hard. Let's try it again. Let's see. So it's actually like, it's falling within spec. So it's between, it's hard to see while I'm going back and forth. You have to kind of catch it. So it's like at 20-ish. And you want to basically replicate, or when you put it back on, you want to make sure it's at that same, you know, level. All right, yeah, it's at roughly at 20 inch-pounds, and that's where it needs to be. I think it needs to be around there. I don't have the specs in front of me, but I know when I rebuilt the diff, it was perfectly where it needed to be. So now we're going to zip this off, put it back on with this new flange, recheck it, and it should be good. Here we go. Oh, kind of missed that, sorry guys. Okay, got it off. Here's the nut for proof. Okay. And then we will get the jaws of life applied and pull off the flange and put the other one on and see if I need to order a new sway bar. My guess is yes. Not sure if you guys can see. It's always a little harder to do it when the diff is in the car. Because of the obvious, you know, got everything else in the way. I feel like I'm kind of fumbling. Hopefully the sway bar is not going to be in the way. Okay, there we go. Get everything else tightened up. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of, things are kind of pinched and wedged, but we'll see how we do. You can kind of see where it's touching there, touching there. We'll just see what happens before I surrender to removing the drive shaft. Actually, let's go ahead and do that because I need to pull it down anyways. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let me try this first. Let me get my socket that I dropped and these two bolts. Okay. Let's see how we do. It's going to be utter failure or ultimate victory here. We'll see. Here we go. Let's have you guys watch. Hey, it worked. Sweet. Woo! Oil. Not good. Not good. Did not see that coming. Alright, stop the bleeding, I guess. That's not supposed to happen usually because most of the oil is supposed to be down there. It just might mean that I overfilled it, which is fine. So what we're gonna do, get to the flange and quickly swap it so that it prevents the leaking. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see well, but we're gonna go right for it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. So, I don't know, like quart over quart I lost. So we'll have to clean that up. But new flange is on there. Let's go get that bolt put on real quick. Honestly, did not expect that to happen. Little newbie mistake, I guess. But all right, I think there's enough threads. Let's see. All right, let's get this guy zipped on. So, kind of thinking out loud, I think I might want to pull the e-brake now at this point, so that way I can get a good Well, let me grab the tire. I guess we'll do this. I might be able to do it by hand before I pull the e-brake. Okay, there we go. So let's take that same measurement and see where we're at. My money says it's going to be right where it was. Okay, here we go. Let's measure that out. Kind of go back and forth a little bit. And wouldn't you know? Oops, sorry, you can't see. It's exactly where it was before. There's just not enough, when you zip it on with an impact like that, especially in electric, there's just not enough, torque to further crush that crush sleeve. It's exactly where it needs to be, which is good. Okay, so what's next is get that measurement, and that kind of concludes the half of this video until we get the drive shaft back from its modifications. So to measure, obviously you need a measuring tape. Let me put on my headlamp here to see if that might help instead of me having to fumble with a flashlight and a measuring tape. I haven't worn this one in a while. Okay, there's barely some juice left in the charge. Okay, so like I said, whenever you get a custom drive shaft made, you have to, the video looks like it's flickering, but it's not, it's stable. You measure from the transmission seal, so right there, just kind of looking real quick. Yeah, you measure from the seal to the center of the mounting surface of the flange, which is typically where, you know, the flange will seat or rest, which is right here. Not to, on this one, it's not to be confused with down there or further inward or right here. It's where the flange will rest, which is right here. So you just want to get your best measurement. Let's see if you guys can see. So you measure from there. All right, it's kind of tricky. I don't know if you guys can see. So you measure. And so I'm getting. Let's see. It's kind of tricky. It's roughly 34. I'm going to go with 34 1/4. The good news is when you build a shaft, you know, you give them your measurement. They do account for a little bit of slop, so you can, when you put a drive shaft in, you basically bottom out the slip yoke right there, and then it gives you room to insert it into the transmission. So there is a little bit of room for error and slop. That's by design. So in this case, when I say 34 1/4, I'm comfortable giving that measurement to the drive shaft shop to have them make this. So, they are going to be able to reuse my existing shaft. They actually got to shorten it some, and that's why they sent it off. So they're going to shorten it and rebalance it with a new SONNAX flange to accommodate this. So all is well here. But yeah, this will be half the video, and then, you know, when I get the other drive shaft back, I'll put everything back together and it should be rocking and rolling. But then if you look here, again, I apologize, it's not flickering in real life, but on the video it looks like it's flickering. But you can see that now I can order or reorder the sway bar again, so I don't have to worry about it rubbing. I don't think it will. So I'll go ahead and place the order and get the replacement shaft. There's plenty of room now. I don't have to worry about any interference and this rubbing. It's kind of bothered me that I had to do that. But yeah, it should be good. So otherwise, that's it for the half of this video. And then when I get the drive shaft back, I'll stitch it into this and then make it one video. But otherwise, that's it for today, guys. And we'll get this back and hopefully resolve the vibration issue in the car. But until then, I guess I'll chat with you later. All right, we're back. Got the new drive shaft in. It came in a couple days ago. I was waiting for the new rear sway bar to show up to replace that, and that came up today actually. So we're gonna get this done. So here's the new shaft. Again, well, new shaft, I'm sorry. This is my existing shaft, but with the new companion flange on here. I mean, look how shiny it is. So this is a billet piece of aluminum here. Now, again, it's like my first thought process was, man, aluminum? Like, aren't you worried about that shearing? Apparently not. I mean, apparently these are rated for like 2,200 horsepower. It's, I mean, it's strong as hell, I guess, but not worried about it. Like I said, the drive shaft guy who does all my drive shafts, he says these are for Hellcats, and he sent me, out of curiosity, I asked for a Hellcat drive or companion flange, an OEM one, and this is it. I mean, so this is for a Hellcat, and here it is, like the same pattern as a Nissan. And he also uses these for R32s and Z32 twin turbos. And so he says he's a customer in Australia that he ships shafts to regularly, and not because they're breaking, but it's because it's a racing team. But he says their GTRs out there are like making, you know, 17 to almost 2,000 horsepower, so 1,700 to 2,000 horsepower, and some of those crazy builds in Australia for this racing team out there. So he sells the hell out of these, and if he tells me it's good, I'm taking him up for that. So let's go ahead and get this guy in there and replace that rear sway bar, because it was, like I said earlier in the video, that I had to grind some of the material right there to clear, but now we don't have to. So yeah, I did already pull off, because I test fitted the shaft earlier, but I pulled off the cap for the transmission there, so that, you know, nothing would get dirty. So yeah, just kind of thinking out loud here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get this in right now, I guess. So when you install a drive shaft, I mean, I'm not sure if all of you have, but you got to put the slip yoke inside first, because that's where you're going to have most of your, or all of your play, you know, to be able to adjust. So like I slid it all the way in to where the slip yoke bottomed out, and then over here, if you can see, you know, you have a little bit of play. So check that out. You have a little bit of play. Like, it gave me, man, just like a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch in that realm for the ability to slide it up like this and then install it. So now that you got it, you know, positioned, you want to line up the holes of where it needs to meet the companion flange of the diff, and then go ahead and go in there. Now, this is a very tight tolerance. You can see that right there, and the receiving end of the companion flange on the diff, it's like zero, like there's no slop. So it basically, I slid it in earlier, but it is like tap, tap, tap with a hammer, you know. But we're not going to do that. We're going to actually use the bolts to continue, you know, pulling it in. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go get the bolts right now. Now, earlier today, you know, here's the bolts that I bought. These are actually too long. There's a reason why I had these lying around, because I bought two different sizes for the wide body, not knowing which one I needed, and these were the spares because they were longer. So I'm not going to use these. Ran to the hardware store and I bought these black ones. Now, these are strong. These are the black oxide bolts. My only problem with these is these will rust. Not like rusting in a sense of where you're gonna, you know, have the rust where they fall apart. They're just gonna have surface rust, and I really don't want that. So I'm gonna install these for now, and next time I do an oil change on the car, you know, what's up on the lift, I will swap it out for the right ones when I order the right length, you know, and swap them out later. So it's not a big deal. And if you're asking, well, why not just run these if they're longer? Well, if you look, the longer ones have a longer shoulder on the bolt, and I don't want to risk having the bolt or the nut not go all the way down to the companion flange surface. So I think it would actually, because I measured it, and I think it would by a couple millimeters. So if you look on the black ones, the shoulder is shorter. So we're going to use these. Got the washers and nuts over here. So actually, before I go over there, let me see what size. I'm guessing that's either an 8 or a 10, just eyeballing it. So yeah, we'll just take a look at this. There it is. And what size is it? That was an 8. So it looked a little too small to be a 10. So got that on there, and we need a wrench for the nut side of things. I'm not using that one. We're going to use these. So I think these are this looks to be like a 17? Is that what they are? Yeah, 17. Actually, let's get the normal 17. All right. Now obviously we need a wrench. I'll just grab the normal 3/8 here. Should be good enough. Okay. Let's go ahead and bolt this in. All right, so one thing I noticed though when I got the shaft back is that there was let me see if I can spin it to show you. There was right here. So if you can see that, where it's kind of grounded right there, that was where a weight used to be. And that's interesting because I'm still thinking that the shaft earlier was, I was under the impression that shaft was out of balance, right? So I think not seeing that weight on there, and now the weight is up here. That's interesting. That to me says that the shaft was possibly, unfortunately, not balanced. So I need to pull this back down so I can get it lined up again. But I'm hoping that was the case, because I tell you, not happy that the shaft was potentially out of balance, because I was, like I said earlier, I was getting a vibration in 4th gear, and in other gears too, but it was more recognizable, and experienced it more in 4th gear. So all is good now, I hope, anyways. All right, so I forgot, I need those special these washers right here. So let's get these pulled out. And again, the purpose of these washers, they call them washers, I believe. Yeah, washers, is to spread the clamping force evenly over that companion flange. The Driveshaft guy was actually, he never seen these before. And he says, well, if Nissan is, supplying them on a factory level, obviously, consider using them. So I do have them on the Y body as well. Just peace of mind, doing things correct, and not doing things, half-assed or anything like that. So I should have brought the card over here. I have everything in my pocket, but we'll do, I guess, pocket today. Sorry, just let me fumble around a little bit here. Okay. So even though these are considered washers, these little, I guess they are washers, I'm still going to put a washer on top of it, just so that when you tighten this down, that it doesn't cause any unnecessary play into the flange there and warp things unnecessarily. So I'm still going to use it that way. So let's get another one here. Okay, got 2 there, and I don't want to rotate the shaft until I get at least a bolt on opposing sides there, so that it kind of clamps down evenly, So let me grab just 2 more here just to kind of get it mocked up. But this is exciting. I'm really hoping this solves that vibration issue I was experiencing. And you really just don't know what could be causing it. I had called Tremec, I had called Exity to see what the potential issue was, and all of them said potential, gotta fight me here, all of them said potential drive shaft balancing issue. So if you notice here, I kind of got a problem. I can't get the bolt past the flange there. So what I think I have to do, how did I get past this last time? Because these are the same size bolts that I used. I think what I need to do is kind of just convince it by twisting it there. I think it's what I had to do last time. Yeah, it's going. So if you look, it's almost past the little come on. It's almost there. All right, I think we got it. There we go. Sometimes you kind of have to figure things out and use your little brain power to get past some of the difficulties here, you know? Okay, so that's good. And I guess I am gonna rotate it now because I'm worried about if it did it there, it's gonna do it over here too. So let's make sure we get them all in before I tighten it down. I might need that slop to accommodate the, getting these installed. So we're gonna do this one first. Take that. And the last bolt. And if you're wondering, so why are you using socket cap bolts versus just regular bolts? Only because that's what Nissan uses from factory as well. They use socket cap bolts for right here. So I figured they did it for a reason and might as well continue doing it. So, all right, cool. All right, so all 6 bolts are kind of in there. Now what we need to do is, I'm gonna do like one right here and do the exact opposite across to make sure I bring it in evenly, So the bolts, the nuts I selected are nylon threaded. The reason why I chose nylon threaded is because just one time in previously, I had a bolt back out on the drive shaft and caused, like all of them backed out, the nuts did anyways, and it caused some vibrations, scared the hell out of me. So I don't know, I got lock washer and a nylon. Yeah, it's overkill for sure, but I don't care. It's just one of those peace of mind things. So let's just do overkill stuff and call it a day, I guess, but it'll be all right. So got this one threaded, and I want to thread the other one now, and then we'll go ahead and start tightening. Let me actually spin this down a little bit. Oops, you can't see, sorry guys. So it's this guy right here. Let me spin it one more time. Actually, I can't because I need to, it's kind of at a weird angle. I might have to cut and move my e-brake bracket that I made because it might be hitting it, but we'll see. I'm gonna drop the lock washer. Or the, the regular washer actually. So while I'm doing this, I'll just quickly state a discovery while I was, working on the car and had it up on the lift, while waiting for the drive shaft. I noticed, and I did upload a video of it earlier, that I had some toe issues going on, some weird tire wear, and I had to pull out my spare race tires, which are these R888Rs. I only had one session on these, so these are virtually new. So let me, I guess, take a break and explain that. So these are R888R Toyo tires. These are an R compound, really sticky tire. Same tire I have in the wide body. So there was some excessive wear coming in right here, but it was like every 4 inches, like a bald patch showing belt every 4 inches. I took the coilover out to make sure the coilover was good, because usually when you see every 4 inches, that means the tire is dribbling. Like sometimes you see on the highway, you see some, you know, beat up cars when you see the tire just bouncing like that. You call it tire dribbling, and that's a indicator usually of a bad shock. But I took out the shock, called the manufacturer, Powertrix Charles Park, and he had me do some tests, and he's like, no, those are good, healthy coilovers. They're good, man. So we just concluded that's a bad alignment. So tomorrow, after I get this all wrapped up, I have an alignment tomorrow at 9 in the morning to get the car aligned at Nissan. Nissan, the dealership is the only service area nearby that actually has a ground level rack, because this thing will never go up on a rack. And you drive up on there and I'll scrape up my lip or whatever. So, but let me show those tires real quick. They're still in the back of my truck. Let's see, not those. Here they are. So look at that. That's crazy. Really never seen that before. So anyways, just one of those, you know, observation points. So if you look right here, you can't necessarily, well, right there I could, but I can't get an Allen, the wrench, all the way around, because it's gonna hit the drive shaft. So let's just get this kind of mocked up for now, but I'm gonna have to get Allen keys here instead. So will this now spin without hitting? Oh, it's gonna hit. So what I have to do, it's hit my e-brake bracket I made a long time ago, booger welds. I'm gonna get my hammer and just hammer it up a bit more. It'll be fine. And that'll, you know, create the clearance for me. But let me see if I can won't do that until I get the drive shaft fully seated. I need to, I'm gonna go get an Allen key now, so we know it's 8. Let's go get the number 8. Just a conventional Allen head. Got my pile of wrenches over here. I wish there was a way to easily organize these without, Craftsman puts them in these freaking bags and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Anyways, let's see. Here we go. All right, let's try this. Let's see if we can get a surely but slowly statement applied. Let's see. All right, so we'll just, it's gonna take forever, but I guess there's no easier way of doing this, you know? And you can see what's going on. It's like, even though I'm tightening it, it's coming at a weird angle just because it's like a very tight tolerance fit. So now I'm gonna start tightening that one to bring it in, because it's kind of going at a weird angle. But it's fine. You gotta do what you gotta do. Looking for a washer. Okay, here we go. All right. Yeah, and like I said, this is probably overkill to have a lock washer with a nylon thread, but I don't care. It's kind of peace of mind knowing it's not gonna vibrate out. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with the tightening. All right. And that's what I was afraid of when you're doing this. Tools flying and whatnot. Okay. Making progress. It's a song and dance, you know? It might be faster if I, let's go ahead and pull this down because I have to pull it out anyways to replace it. And it's just kind of in the way. So let's get it removed. So it looks like these are also 17s, and I wish I kind of knew what these were a hex head, because what I want to do is put a socket here instead. This is why you want socket stuff, guys, is because this bolt is like, you can't even put a socket on there like a regular you know, wrench socket. So what I'm gonna do is remove this one. I'm actually gonna take a pause and go down to the store and get socket cap bolts, because this is ridiculous, you know? I want to be able to just zip them on with a Allen head or an Allen key socket. So let's unscrew this or unbolt it. And then I'll take a break and run down to the store and get those. Just need 4 of them, obviously. And we'll resume action. Freaking long. And this, you know, this is aggravating because I just want to be able to quickly zip it off, but I wonder why I did this. I must have been in a hurry to get this on earlier, and you know, maybe it was at night and the hardware store wasn't open or something, and this is just kind of all I had, and I figured, oh, I won't even be here again. But here I am again doing this. So there we go. All right, so I got the size I want, but the problem I see right away, this is a 10125, and I don't think, I know for sure the hardware store does not sell 10125. They sell 10115. So I don't know, they might. I'm gonna run down there anyways and check and see if we can get sockets there, because I don't like that. So anyway, I'm gonna take a quick break and see if I can get sockets there to have ease of installation there for the next time. So be right back when I go to the hardware store. Talk to you in a second. All right, well, we're back. Unfortunately, the hardware store, I went to 2 of them here in town, and they didn't have a 10x125 socket. They had plenty of 10 150, so we'll have to make do. But comically, it looks like I was definitely in a hurry to get that sway bar on, because while this is a 17mm head, the other bolts are a 14, and it just so happens that the a 14mm socket will fit. So what I will do, as I said earlier, I have to order some new bolts for the flange back here, you know, stainless steel instead of the black oxide. I'll go ahead and order some sockets too and swap them out for the sway bar linkage there. So anyway, let's go ahead and get the sway bar pulled off. I want to pull off the end link first, so that I don't, when I lower it down, I don't want to lose all the bushings there. So obviously you want to, you know, remove the bottom nut there. Get that bolt out on that nut. Losing everything. Okay, And you definitely don't want to lose these because these washers are concaved to fit the bushings here, the poly bushings. So when I go to lower this all down, you know, if I don't catch all these bushings, they're all going to drop and hit the floor. So, and by the way, if you're curious to know why right here it's all black on the sway bar versus red over here, it's because my electric cutout down there for the exhaust, you know, when you hit turbo boost, you know, you're shooting a lot of fuel down. So all that's just like a lot of rich exhaust coming through and it's blackening everything down. It's just par for the course, you know, it's just, it is what it is. So no, I'm not worried about it. It's just, you know, what happens when you have a turbo build. So let's get this one undone. Okay. And same thing as before. Okay. And now what I want to do as I'm dropping everything is I want to carefully retract the end links and pull the bushings so I don't lose them. So we're gonna kind of set them here on the lift arm so I know where they're at and they won't go running away from me. So let's, that one's kind of wedged in there. So I'll get this one since I'm able to. So that's what I mean, like they go flying. I don't want to have like all these bushings and washers go flying. So we'll just kind of put them up here on the lift arm, keep an eye on them. All right, so like I said, these are now accessible because they're a 14mm head. It's kind of funky, I guess. Let's see if I need to turn my impact to a stronger setting. All right. So I got this. Looks like my shop door is swinging open. Could be the wind, I guess, but let me get these bolts positioned. So if you look right here, I had to, you know, cut an aluminum piece to make a spacer to bring the sway bar down a bit from previously hitting the companion flange. I probably still have to use these. And it's fine that they're a spacer, as long as it's solidly mounted to the chassis. Yeah, let me go close this door. The wind is hitting it a bit. There we go. Okay, so we do need to, you know, pull the bar out completely because I am going to replace it with a new one. And let me get these bushings off. Okay, I got that one, so. All right. Got the sway bar in, bushing brackets. Let's see if I can finagle this out of here without too much drama. Kind of worried I might have to drop the exhaust to get this out. I was kind of worried about that. Yeah, I don't see any other way. That's a bummer. Yeah, I'm just trying everything to get this out without having to pull the exhaust, but it totally looks like I have to drop this last pipe, and that's fine. So I believe that to be a 13mm nut. Okay. I forgot to put my gloves on. So let's just get this pipe removed. Okay. Gotta love V-bands. No gaskets. Okay. Yeah, you know, I don't think I need to unbolt it all the way. I just need to loosen that one actually, and I'll be able to just shimmy it down. Like so. See what I'm doing here? Let's see if I can. There we go. Sweet. Got the sway bar out. That wasn't so bad. All right, so now we have all this room, which is the whole delay of getting everything undone. So let's go get the wrench and whatnot. Just check my messages. Okay, so unfortunately we're still having to do this. And I don't think I can use a speed ratchet on the back because I don't think I can put a speed ratchet back here, you know? Yeah, there's just no way. So we're gonna have to very patiently just do this manually, you know? So make sure you guys can see. And, you know, slowly but surely. Obviously it's taking longer because of the nylon threads. They're not, you know, they're posing a lot more resistance than just a normal, you know, nut and bolt. That's okay. Okay, so tentatively got that one kind of wrenched down. Yeah, and yeah, 100%. I'm gonna have to just barely tap. I mean, you can see that's rotating now, but it's actually kissing it like ever so slightly. So I just need to get the hammer and just give a little love tap and kind of bend it up a little bit. No big deal. Let's get this on there. I wonder if, I'm gonna finish this one. I think I have some Allen, you know, socket driven that has like the ball tip on the butt. I might be able to use those instead of holding the wrench. Yeah, we'll try these. I guess they're not the ball types, but we'll see if I can at least get them to where I can speed this up a bit, you know. Where are the sizes for these? That's 7. Here's 8. Yeah. Let's give that a shot because this is taking forever. I'm trying to not bore you guys with how to tighten a nut and a bolt. All right, let's just see. Oh yeah, that might work out pretty well. I'll put that in the pocket. Let me go wash my hands real quick, or at least kind of degrease them because I got that polyurethane grease that you're supposed to put on bushings, you know. And I don't want to get that all over my pockets as I'm grabbing washers and whatnot. So a little joke, or not a joke, but a funny story. When I was young, like 16, and I was working on cars for the first time, you know, I thought like any soap that you use water and, you know, bar of soap, you know, you rinse your hands and use soap to lather up. I didn't know with this hand cleaner, Fast Orange or Gojo, that you're not supposed to use water first. You're supposed to, you know, use the cleaning solution and then rinse it with water. So my negative opinion about this stuff was like, it didn't work. Like, why are these solar wire mechanics always using this stuff when it doesn't work? You just, you know, don't use water. So kind of funny, I guess. All right, so let's get moving here. Just curious if you guys can see okay. All right, moving along. I am still going to use the actual Allen key to really tighten them. I don't trust that I won't strip the socket cap with this long extension because I have to do it at a weird angle, you know. So I'll still be careful how I do it. But let's just have a go at it. Let's see if it helps. Kind of, I mean, it's definitely going faster, but it's still awkward as hell. But yeah, it's still faster. It's just weird because I'm only able to hit it at a weird angle. I definitely don't want to put a lot of torque into tightening it because it will for sure strip it. And we will tighten it once they're all cinched down a little bit because you want to tighten them when they're all at the same level. All right, just 2 more to go. And it's pretty good progress, I would say, you know, monkeying around like I did earlier. But all right, I got that one threaded up, and I just need the last washer to go here and get that lock washer on. All right. Oops. Cool. Bing. All right. So let's get these tightened down. This is the last one, and this is the awkward one. Almost there, guys. Sorry about this. We'll just do this. All right, so now got them all evenly hand tightened, you know, cinched up. So now let's go ahead and crank them down to the full tightness there, or tightening. And I don't know what torque spec it's going to be. I'm just going to go ugga tugga tight. It seems to work fine in the past, you know. So let's see. All right, that one's good. Okay, I'll do this one next. All right, that one's good. Is it this one? Come on. That one's good. Making progress, slowly but surely. I think this is the last one. I can't remember. I haven't counted here. All right, and I'll just double check this one. I think I already did this one. I can't remember. Yeah, that one's already done. Okay, so it's all installed. Before I forget, I'm gonna go and just kind of tap, tap, tap and pound that up a little bit. That's just the little suspended mounted e-brake cable adapter thing you have to do when you do the subframe swap. So like I said, I'm just gonna get my little sledge here and a drive to hammer it up a little bit because it was just barely kissing it. Let's see. So you guys make sure you see. Let's see, I gotta hit it right there. There we go. And hand rotate it, make sure it's not gonna hit it. Seems to be good. I think I'm gonna do one more hit just in case there's any flex, you know? Oops. Yeah, cool. So we're good now. There's no contact, but man, that's pretty sweet looking. Check that out. That's pretty sweet. I like new shiny parts. Cool. All right, so sway bar, let's get that on there. And then I'm gonna take a dinner break, a lunch food dinner break thing. Just gonna put these tools down. And so after I get the sway bar down, I need to put oil in the diff. You notice that, you know, earlier in the video when I pulled the flange off, some oil came out, and I was kind of set back by that. Like, why is that happening? And I forgot that with the diff cooler pump assembly, when you fill up a diff cooler or a differential that has a diff cooler, like this setup right here, you need to activate it so that it's pumping, because in most cases when I'm driving the car, it will be cycling oil. So if you don't have it on when you're filling it, you know, your fill level, which is right over here, it'll be at a lower point. So like when it's cycling, because you're gonna fill it up to where you think it's fill at the fill line, and then when the pump kicks on, it's gonna lower the level down a tad because it's cycling oil, so you'll be at a lower level than it needs to be. So that's why oil came out, because it's actually at a higher level when the pump's not on. But in most cases, the pump is on. It only takes about 20-30 minutes of driving for that pump to get turned on. So just kind of a heads up on that. So here's the sway bar. It came in today. Let's get it opened up. I haven't even done so yet, obviously. And it is the exact same bar, just, you know, not the not having been shaved, you know. So, and then if you wanted to know what one this is the Godspeed S13 bar. It's either 30 or 31. I got the micrometer over on the bench, so we'll go measure it over there. And if you're wondering, like, why am I running a 31 when, you know, the factories are like, depends what the vehicle is, you know, Shiro special or not. So they're like a little lesson here, history lesson. The Shiro came with the thickest sway bar at 25 millimeters, so 1 inch. And other cars, you know, depending on the model within the Z31 world, it could be as skinny as a 22 or even smaller, I think. But I want to prevent as much understeer and oversteer as possible. So that's why I want to go thicker. With as much power as I'm putting down, I want to be able to have the handling be more, I guess, predictable. So when you have a thicker sway bar, it actually helps, you know, control some of that understeer and oversteer. And the fronts I have are very rare. They're Suspension Techniques. Suspension Techniques is still a company today, but yeah, you bet that they haven't made anything for the Z31 in a long time. And I have, this guy was selling 2 NOS, so new old stock, Suspension Techniques, rear sway bars, or I'm sorry, front sway bars for the Z31. And they were a 32 millimeter. So usually the sway bars on the front of a car are beefier than the rear. That's kind of how most cars are. So I wanted to get a matching set. So here you go. Got that off finally. All right, and then like I said, I want to measure it real quick. I'm actually kind of second guessing myself. This may not be a 30 or 31. I think this actually might be like a 20 or 28, or 27 or 28. I can't remember. Let's just measure it real quick. Is the battery good? There we go. So let's measure at the center point. Yeah, 27. My mistake, but you get the point. I don't know why I thought 30. But anyway, like I said, the fronts were, the fronts on the car are Suspension Techniques. I'm not even sure if you can truly see them because it's so buried in there. Up there. So those are 32 millimeter big boys. And they're hard to find, rare to find, all that good stuff. All right, so let's get this guy in here and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We are gonna pull down and do that. All right, so we're just gonna let it rest right there. And if you look, if you heard earlier, I did drop a bunch of bushings, but I see where they all are, so I'll get them here in a minute. But let's get one side up first. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the end links on first, loosely assemble them, and then get the, you know, the U-shaped brackets, the mount brackets done. And then after all that's done, then I'll tighten the end links, because you want to tighten them where they will be, you know, resting on the car, or, you know, naturally sitting. Okay, so bushing, and then washer. Let me adjust the camera for you guys. And then spacer, and then where's the other washers? There it is. Washer, and then bushing. Let's get it kind of slid over a little bit. Come on. There we go. I'm missing one washer. There it is. I just couldn't see it. All right. So that one's assembled, and let's pick up the mess here that I dropped. All right. And got the bushings over here. Okay, just making sure I have them all. I think I do. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this assembled just like on the other side. So bushing, washer, and then spacer, and then washer, and then bushing. I love talking to myself. All right. It's kind of fighting me a little bit. Definitely is fighting me. It's just the angles here. Because the car is not on the ground, the sway bar is at a weird angle. if it was on the ground, it'd be straight. But I will fight with it and get it on there. Just need to contort it a little bit. And I do think that, you know, this is an aftermarket. It's not like OEM. It's, for whatever reason, doesn't probably fit as well. So I'm gonna do, not work too hard about it. I'm just gonna get my speedy ratchet and kind of thread that on there. Okay. All right, here we go. So kind of same principle as before. If you thread a bolt that's kind of partially in the way, it'll kind of go through where you're trying to aim it to go. So if you look right there, I'm getting a little bit of thread engagement there. It's going, just not as fast as I would like it to be. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna get it going faster by just putting the bolt to it and get it up there. Okay, so I'll put it up there. I'll need to like remove the nut after it's up there so I can put that bottom bushing on, you know. But I'm just doing this to get it cinched up quicker. There we go. Okay, so now it's ready for these guys. Like so. Get that up there, and there we go. Got it threaded a little bit. Cool, so that was there, that's easy. So let's go ahead and get those brackets on, and hopefully we won't have problems with it, you know, it hitting, because even if I put it all the way up, it will hit. That's why I need that spacer. And if the spacers hit again, I will, even with the spacers, if the sway bar still hits, I'm gonna put a bit more of a spacer on it so that it doesn't. I really don't want to grind that material away, because it becomes it's no longer uniform as far as the spring rate of the sway bar. It alters it. It worked, but not as I would like it to have to, you know. So let's go ahead and get that zipped on real quick. So here's a little aluminum spacers that I have made. We'll do one side first over here. All right, and I'm not gonna re-grease these, because trust me, there's plenty of grease on these bushings already. And I got to wash my hands again here. And plus, you know, these have the Zerk fittings, so I can always just inject more if I need to. So no big deal. All right, let's get the washers and nuts and all that fun stuff. Okay, almost. Got it. Okay, so let's get these all paired up with one another. Lock washer, washer. Let's kind of get a hand started first. Does it get a good bite on it? Oops. Okay. And like I said earlier, the sway bar is sitting at a weird, awkward angle. And I'm wondering if I made a mistake by, you know, undoing or bolting it up first with the end links, because it's kind of fighting me at a weird angle. But I'll get it. I just saw what I had to do. Well, let me take a break real quick. I'm gonna go wash my hands and get some food, but I'll be right back. All right, well, we're back. Sorry about that kind of random interruption earlier. I heard my friend pulling up in his car just as I was working on the stuff here, and I thought to myself, you know, I'm just gonna go get a bite to eat, wash my hands, and visit with my friend for a bit. And then, so it's been a couple hours since he took off. So let's pick up where we last left off. I was kind of just struggling with this sway bar linkage, or the end links here, and so I think what I need to do is see if I can. There we go. Just kind of fight me there for a minute, wasn't it? I might need to, because of the thickness of this and how things are kind of weirdly set up right now, I might need to. Well, we'll see. Let me. Actually, I kind of see what I need to do. I need to loosen the tension right here in this end link so I have a little more wiggle play to get this bolt in there. So that's what I need to do real quick. I'm just kind of struggling to get this bolt lined up, and I really don't want to aggressively attack it, you know, all that much. So let's get the let's get my tools here and get things going. So 14. I just want to loosen it a tad. Not crazy amount, because I don't want to get all those bushings to drop from the end link here. So let's give a little bit of a, let's see if that was enough. Yeah, we'll try that. That might just be enough to get that sway bar to be a little more forgiving in the direction that I want to go. So let's try that. I'm not sure what's going on with the bolt here. All right, I think actually, yeah, there we go. So let me adjust the camera so you can see. I think that's definitely a lot better. Yeah. So now I think that we can, I think I got it threaded. So let's try zipping it on carefully. I don't want to cross thread it. Kind of hard to tell, to be honest. Yeah, there it goes. So we got that. All right, so that one's going, and let's see about the alignment of this guy. Kind of the same story where it's kind of weirdly like angled there, you know? So let's see what we gotta do. I don't remember putting this on to where it fought me that hard, but we'll get it going, no big deal. But I really would like to order those socket type bolts for the end links, or the sway bar mounts. So I'll order those tonight when I get inside, and that way we don't have to fight this weird methodology next time, you know? So, man, that poly grease is so obnoxiously sticky. It's crazy. All right. So let me adjust the camera. So got things kind of mocked up, looking good. Need the washer and lock washer. So I had it right here. Let me get it better lined up. It's kind of awkward. There we go. Come on, baby. Just kind of find the angle here. There we go. So hand thread that one. And then let's get this guy ready for the next bolt, which I think is now. It's frustrating that it's the bigger one. All right, so that one went in much easier. And it's already threading in pretty nicely. So unfortunately, I'll have to do that one by hand. And I think because it is going in pretty easily by hand, I'm gonna go ahead and tackle that one first with a wrench. I have a sneaky suspicion that when after I tighten it with, you know, with the other bolts, it's gonna kind of fight me a little bit. So let's do that one first. I definitely want to get sockets here instead. I think tonight's motto is slowly but surely. Whatever's clever, you know? It's almost there, guys. Just hang tight. I thought about just doing it off camera, but it's actually going by pretty quickly. All right, it's kind of hand tight there. Let's get this one zipped. Oops. All right. I think they're called this compression ring that, adjust the camera, the compression ring that goes on the end of my impact here that holds the socket in place. I think it's collapsed. So sockets fall off on it all the time now. So I gotta get that piece replaced. And I guess it's a commonly like replaceable item on this particular impact. I'm not exactly upset, it's just wear and tear. It's just kind of annoying. All right. Okay, cool. And I'll get this last bolt tightened down. All right, that's good. So let's check some things out, shall we? So let me put this tool down real quick. Actually, let me, before I do that, let me finish tightening the end links here. So when you tighten the end links, there's, you know, you can go extremely tight or you can go like, you know, tight. I mean, I don't know how better to describe it, but basically if you go super tight, you're gonna have a very stiff sway bar setup, which is what I want, to be honest with you. If you're like daily driving a car, you may not want to like go crazy hog tight on it, but I'm going to. So that's the tightness I want, and I'm looking at the threads there. It's about 1 inch. So you want to make sure that both sides are relative to one another. So let's get this other side done up, and then we're basically done down here minus the oil. Okay, let's check that. Yeah, so it's about 1 inch right there and 1 inch on the other side, so it's perfectly, you know, balanced side to side. So I just had a thought process. Do I still need that 1/4 inch spacer out of aluminum that I put there for the, you know, shimming of the alignment, or the sway bar there? And I think yes is the answer, because you can see right there, that bolt is super close. But otherwise, I mean, we're perfect, we're golden. I don't have to grind anything. I'm really stoked about that. I really didn't like the idea of grinding it, but I had to do what I had to do. So back here is looking pretty good, guys. Really digging it. Legitimate setup now, you know? And let's get that exhaust back up on there, the V-band there. And then all we have left to do is put oil in the diff. And as I explained a few moments ago, the reason why an amount poured out is because I had it overfilled, but I had to overfill it for the sake of oil supply during the pump process. So it's kind of a necessary thing I had to do. All right, so let's get the impact. I don't go hog tight on. In fact, I'll probably reduce its torque setting down to 2. Kind of go by hand feel on that one. All right. Almost dropped the impact there. Okay, so here's the exhaust. Now I do have some concerns with how I pulled it off, that it put things out of alignment, but I don't think it did. So that's good, because I had to pull on it pretty hard earlier, you know. All right, so there it is. Let's get the V-band loaded on it. Oh no, I dropped the cap for it. Okay, all we have left to do is just kind of spin it. There we go. Cool. So I just think it's that cap that holds the, where to go? It holds the thread, or the coupler. There it is. All right, so this guy right here, these sometimes pop off depending on how many times you take off the V-band. So you just kind of slide it back on. Hope you guys can see there. There we go. And then just put a nut on there. So I always like to do it by hand first, just to make sure that it's centered. My V-bands that I use are the male-female type, where they, you know, lock inside themselves. That way there's no second guessing whether or not you got the V-band aligned. All right, guys, that's it. So all that's left to do is put oil in this bad boy. And the question is, yep. So let me get my flashlight so I can show you this. Come over here and put my, oops. All right, so check this out. So on a 350Z, 370Z, and even the new Z, actually, let's go over here and show this on the wall. Let me educate you guys on something. Move the box, move the hand cleaner. So, you know, my array of diff covers, these are just, I think these are cool wall art. I think they're just really cool looking. So if you look at my diff cover collection, these are all the Nissan Fend diff covers. I'm missing a couple, but these are all Nissan OEM diff covers that I'm collecting. I got a few more on the bench actually behind me. I don't know if you just saw a minute ago. But you know, the SEMA or YEMA, whatever it's called up there, Z31s, S13s, and that's a J30. Then up there is a Q45, Z32NA, R32, R33 active diff, This is the 350Z Nismo cover, right? Actually 350 and 370, they same part number for both of them. This is the Pathfinder R200, or you know, from like a 2010 Pathfinder, virtually the same as a 350, but has 2 studs. And this is actually the new diff cover from the new Z, like the 23 and newer. So, but the point I'm trying to make here is that for whatever dumb reason, Nissan used a single stud for 350, 370, and the new Z. I don't know why. It is so freaking stupid. And a lot of times when people are making good horsepower, or even stock horsepower, and they're drifting the cars or racing them, this stud will snap and the diff will start hanging. So there's a lot of kits you can find at various, you know, parts websites that where they'll sell a bracket, like a brace kit. And what I simply did is, if you look there, I got some angle iron that I welded and made a brace myself that bolts it to, you know, the back of the subframe and bolts into the diff, the actual iron housing itself. And it ain't going nowhere, guys. But in this circumstance, for me to top it off with new oil, I have to remove this just temporarily. So it's only 2 bolts and it comes right out. So let's get that done real quick. And hey, here's a good example of what I was talking about earlier in that black oxide you know, bolts. Look at that. These are black oxide and they're rusting. These are new like a year ago, and they're surface rusting. It's not a big deal. I doubt they'll, you know, fall into the ocean, but it's still kind of annoying. But anyway, that's why I want to change them out in the diff, on the diff companion flange, because it's going to do that. So these are also 8s, I can tell looking at it. So I need to get my 8 socket dealio again. And I believe the nut behind the top one up there is a 15. So let's just grab that real quick so we can get access to the fill port. So I already have the number 8 right here. I also want to get the shorter 8 that I have, which is this guy, I believe. Come on. Is that 8? Nope, that's 7. All right. Because we'll need it, and I said that we'll need a 15 to get to that inner nut on that bolt. That way we can get this out real quick. So I'm going to try to do it by impact first, just to save some time. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but we'll see. Nope, can't hit it with an impact, so this one I'll have to do by hand. I do have a pneumatic, you know, I don't know what they're called, like ratchet. Yeah, pneumatic ratchet. I do have one, but they're super loud. I don't really feel the need to pull it out if I'm just doing, you know, 2 bolts real quick. Like I said, this is super simple. And I'll show you how that bracket works. Almost got it. Definitely a long bolt. We can see that. Okay, so I got that guy out. I'll just set it here in the lift for a quick minute. And I think I'll actually swap out to the smaller one here. Okay. So like this is a very simple way of doing it. Some of the setups I've seen for, you know, providing a brace for these diff covers is like overly complicated, where you just need to simplify it. And I don't even need to fully remove it. I'm just gonna get it loosened a bit and then kind of wiggle it out of the way. That should be good enough. So if you look, now I have access to that stud right there. Or that, not that stud, that plug. So, and that I know is a 10. So let me go get the 10 and get that out and be able to fill it up, just top it off. Shouldn't take long, and then we'll be done for tonight. I do have to load the car up in the trailer tonight to take it to Nissan for an alignment. I'm gonna use these. Nissan is the only place relatively close to me as a ground level rack. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's expensive. I can understand why a lot of places don't have it, but that's the only type of place where I will take my Z, is to a place that has a ground level rack. Okay, so got it cracked open. Now, as I mentioned a little while ago, I have to get the pump activated while I'm filling in oil, so that there's actually cycling oil to make up the difference for, you know, any oil depletion. Well, you know, it's actually, what am I doing while I was doing that? Actually, I do need this. I'm sorry. It's getting late, guys. I'm getting tired. So what I do is I put a battery on this ladder right here, and then I have wires that will activate the pump. And that way I can, actually, I don't know if I need to use a battery anymore. I think I figured out if I just ground off, yeah, that's right. If I ground off the temp sensor, then it kicks on the pump. So my mistake on that one. Anyway, and then I need to get my my oil drain so that I can drain the excess as it comes out. So the oil that I put in these diffs, if you watch my other videos, the oil I use is very expensive oil. And it's specific for Nissan's Nismo line of differentials. So I don't like to go cheap on oil. All my oil that I use is really expensive stuff. It's nothing to do with flaunting or anything. I just don't like to use cheap oil, because oil is something I believe is something that you actually, you know, truly, you get what you pay for, in my humble opinion, you know. So I just don't like to risk anything. So when I did the differential build last year, and then actually not the last year, well, let me step back. I did do the differential build last year in the 89 here, but I recently did it in the wide body. So I have some, that's a cleaning solution in there. Definitely don't want to put that in there. I have some leftover oil from those cans. Those cans are $38 a quart. This is it right here. Very expensive oil. And I, you know, did not want to throw away, you know, this little amount here. This is expensive stuff. So with that said, we're going to use it, of course. I have my little nifty funnel fill thing here. So to cut the little zip tie that was holding it together. Okay, and it's clean in there still. That's good. Very cool. So let's see, how do we turn this off? Let's see. There's an on-off. There we go. Well, we'll figure it out once we pour some oil in there, won't we? Oh, you know what? Dang, that is ATF. That is not my fancy pantsy oil. That's okay. We won't use ATF, obviously, but we will. I thought that was my mistake, guys. I do have some Valvoline oil, and I don't need to put much in there, but I do have some Valvoline oil that that has the friction modifier for LSDs. So yeah, I'm not sure if I used up that oil, other oil, or what, but no big deal. Like I said earlier, I have this stuff, and this contains limited slip additive. I'm not going to use a lot of it because I just need to replace what I lost. So I need to see which bag I had opened before, if I did at all. So that one's a new. And that one's new. So we have 2 unopened. I guess we do. All right, well, that's fine. I thought for sure I had used another one and saved it for later. That's okay. Fun fact, Nissan used Valvoline back in the 80s for their gear oil. So not to say this is like the right oil. I mean, it is good oil, but it's not what I prefer putting in here. I'd rather put the Castrol stuff I use, but it's okay. This is fine. Okay, so let's kind of put this right there for a minute. And I need to see if I can get that pump to kick on. I don't know. I can't remember if I need to have the battery in like the key on position. I can't remember. It's been a year since I did this. But there's a relay that activates off of a ground signal. So all I need to do is get a dummy wire and just feed it a ground signal. There we go. Random bit of wire. Get my wire strippers here. These are cool, by the way. Amazon, like $10 wire strippers. Very, very nifty. Okay. So like I said, what we're gonna do is we are gonna take a bit of wire like this. We're gonna put it in the spade female of this wiring here. And we're just going to ground it and see if the pump kicks on. So that tells me that the key needs to be on. So, yeah, let me go turn the key on real quick and we should be in business. Hopefully, anyways. The reason why it was sparking is because when the relays fall to a different state when the key 12 off is off, you know, so it's obviously in that state right now. Okay, let's see if that pump turns on now. It's weird that it's sparking like that. It shouldn't be. It makes me wondering if there's a short somewhere, or if I have the, it should not be sparking. Huh. Kind of tells me, my music just kicked on. Pause it. Yeah, it tells me that something's not right with my wiring. We need that to work, obviously. So I'm not sure if there's a wiring short, and let me see if I can quickly identify it. Try and get the spade back on. Bear with me, guys, sorry. There we go. let's see what's going on here. Why is it shorting like that? This has been like the most solid setup. My guess is the relay is dead and it's shorting out internally. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna figure that out. And then once I get that working again, we'll fill up the oil. So give me 1 minute to figure this out. Okay, we're back. So figure out what happened. The relay did in fact go bad and put everything in like it was just seized, and it was providing power to the sensor when it wasn't supposed to be doing that. Luckily, it must have failed semi recently because the sensor is still good. I tested it and it didn't. So this sensor is a temperature activated sensor. So once the oil reaches 180 degrees, the internal, like, I don't know what you want to call it, like the two spades will actually become one, right? So there's like an internal resistor, if you will, or switch inside that will come, you know, they'll provide continuity between the two spades there. So luckily it had not happened yet. So the sensor is still healthy. So there wasn't a short circuit, but I did go ahead and change up everything. I got a new relay there that's waterproof. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Maybe it overheated the other one, or it wasn't waterproof. I got a waterproof one there, redid the wiring. So now, as I said earlier, you know, if we put a ground wire, and again, I just got a bit of wire onto that T-bolt for the V-band clamp. I'm gonna ground off the sensor to simulate the sensor grounding out. And there we go. So let me get that kind of wedged in there. So now the pump is running. You can kind of hear it. So the oil is coming out, flowing into the pump, coming around, going into the cooler, coming around, and dropping into the top as fitting up there. So now what I need to do, since it's cycling, we can now loosen the drain port, or the fill port, I'm sorry, and fill it up until fluid comes out, and then lock it up, and then we're done. So this is what you have to do if you have a external pump for your diff cooler. You have to do this step, otherwise when this will turn on, you will be at a lower level than what's required. So let's go ahead and get that plug finally pulled out. Just getting ready here. All right, bag is ready with oil. We're loosening the drain or the fill. Well, there is oil coming out, so that's a good sign. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little more in to replace what was lost, and then we're gonna be good. So it looks like what came out was fine, but I do want to put a little more in there just because I just don't want to miss the opportunity of lost oil there. So, all right, so I got plenty of oil in there now. Obviously, it's coming out like a drunken sailor, you know. So let's. Slippery because it's all oily. Almost done. All right, so now we can tighten it back up. Let me get my hands wiped off. Sorry. I guess I might have overfilled it a bit much. I don't remember doing that, but I guess I did. But it's all good. As soon as I get this tightened up, I can go ahead and spray some brake parts cleaner and get this cleaned up. Okay, here we go. If you can see, hopefully you can. Okay, one ugga tugga. All right, that should be good. Got that tightened there. And let's get this cleaned up real quick. All that, just the top off what was probably already topped off. That's all good. So just wiping as much off with paper towel. Okay. And then I'll just put some on the paper towel. If you don't clean up the oil residue, it'll only let dirt and other crud from the road, you know, stick to it. So it's best to keep your stuff clean from issues like I just caused, you know. So let's just make sure we get everything cleaned up pretty good. All right, that looks pretty good. I think we're in a good spot to get things bolted back up now. I just wanted to show that bracket I mentioned a little bit ago. So there's the bracket, right? And I welded a washer, a thick washer, on the base of it as it's mounting or clamping surface, and then you can see the angle iron. And it definitely works. I have never snapped a stud with 838 wheel horsepower. Couple track days, you know, I don't really drive the car all that hard, but it definitely is doing what I wanted it to do. So let's go ahead and get the necessary items here to get bolted up and call it a night because we're about done. And then I'll have to get this car off loaded in the trailer tonight and get alignment done tomorrow so I can enjoy it. I'm a little irritated because tomorrow's weather is not so warm, even though I don't think it's supposed to rain. It's going to be in the 30s tomorrow, which, you know, I'm not looking forward to that, but it's okay. So I'm really hoping that the drive shaft, getting that redone, fixes that vibration. That's like the whole reason why I did this, because that vibration which is killing the vibe and killing the enjoyment of the car, unfortunately. Okay, so that's tight. And all I need to do is tighten the inside one for the brace, and then we're done. We are done and done and done and done. So it wasn't too bad of an ordeal. A couple of gotchas, like that sway bar was a gotcha. The diff leaking was definitely a gotcha. The diff pump and the relay going out was, I guess, an expected gotcha. I was surprised it lasted that long. That was like, I did that relay back in 2012, a long time ago. And I just did a regular store-bought relay that's not meant for weather. And this car's been driven in rain. I am so surprised it lasted that long. Super surprised. But now we got a waterproof relay in there, so it should be good. But we are 100% done with the with what I wanted to get done for this car. So let's just do a quick overview and talk through it and make sure we got everything buttoned up as we wanted to. Always kind of do your last inspection when you're wrapping things up. Make sure everything's tight. For example, I know I need to torque the wheels down, but I'll do that after I get the car off the lift. All right, so let's check back here. Did the new wiring for the relay, new relay. Oh, see, missed this. I gotta reconnect the spade for the temp sensor. No big deal, I just gotta reconnect it. Okay, so spade is connected. I know those bolts are tightened. The sway bar is large and in charge. And just cinched up. I know we got that tightened. Got an inch of threads there, inch of threads there. Those are tight. So that's it. That's what we got done. That's all we touched. So we are ready for an alignment. And hopefully I don't freaking gonna have, you know, destroyed tires. And these Toyo R888Rs, these are not cheap tires. I think these are like 1,200 bucks for some R compound tires. So it's about time I got some better tires back here for better traction. These tires I think only last like 5,000 miles, but you know, I don't really drive the car a whole lot, like year to year, you know, so I'm sure they'll be dry rotted. Well, maybe not now that I'm in Tennessee, but my point I was about to say, I'm sure they'll be dry rotted before they actually need to be replaced treadwear wise, but I'm going to retract that statement. I have been driving my Z's a whole lot more since having moved to Tennessee because it's nice weather and nice roads. So yeah, everything's looking good. Eventually, you know, I'm going to clean up all this. I'm going to redo all this, you know, crud. Weld in new frame rail caps, clean up this so it looks, you know, presentable. I mean, it's under the car, it is what it is. I'm not really worried about it, but it's just kind of showcasing, like, most of this mess was I did this when I was like 20, so it's been on there for years. So I need to go through at one point and get that cleaned up. But everything right here, all this was inspected, all good. Inspected this side, it's all good, so everything's good. So let's get this car off the lift, and I'm gonna get loaded in the trailer tonight because I have to leave tomorrow morning for my morning appointment. And I will let tonight be the end of this project. I do have another video I'm gonna put up in a couple days showcasing a badass project coming. It is super cool. I think I mentioned it a few videos ago, and the customer was unfortunately kind of delayed in delivering his car to me, but he just delivered it, which is, you know, the buddy I told you that was here earlier, and it's here, and I will show it off here in a bit. But I won't do that video right now because I want to, you know, call a night with this stuff and then, you know, wrap up everything and showcase his next project. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Really excited to see if this fixed my vibration problem. But yeah, I think we're in good shape. So, you know, if you guys have any questions or comments, ask away. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends about the channel. Like I said, I'm trying to grow it. Every like and every subscribe definitely helps out. So I appreciate that. Anyway, guys, have a good night, and we'll chat later. Talk to you.